Emily here with Get Fit Now. So today I want to share with you some of the top tips that I use to stay on track during the weekend. So I definitely know that after a long week of work and a pretty chaotic schedule, on the weekends we like to kick back and relax. But you still need to make sure you're sticking on track with your clean eating and with your workouts, because a couple days on the weekend can completely derail everything that you've done during the week, which can get really frustrating. So one of my first tips that I typically like to do is we'll try a new recipe. So we'll put tip number 1, try a new recipe. So Dustin and I, when we're meal prepping throughout the week, we typically pick a couple recipes to cook. And if you have the Get Fit Now meal plan, you'll see that we do typically use, maybe 3 dinners, and you'll be eating some of those meals for lunch as well. Now, on the weekend, I like to either look through that Get Fit Now meal plan. Sometimes I'll even get on Pinterest and type in healthy, low-carb meals, and I'll try a recipe that might take a little bit longer to prep. So something that would not be realistic for me to cook during the week. And that way we still feel like we're having this amazing meal. We're not having to go out to eat. And the danger with going out to eat is there's a lot of hidden ingredients in food. So you don't know how much sodium or carbs are contained in that meal. So by cooking that healthy meal at home, you're able to read the food label and you know exactly what is going into that meal. Now, another tip is to do something fun. Do some fun source of cardio. So 2, fun cardio. Now, this also completely depends on the time of year. So if it's winter, go ice skating. That's a fun way to get cardio in. During the fall, you could go for a hike. Summer, you could get outside, go swim, and do laps in the pool for your cardio. So take advantage of the extra time that you have on the weekend and switch up your cardio routine. Because believe it or not, weekends allow you to get in longer workouts that you normally couldn't get during the week. So try to extend your workout maybe 10 minutes on Friday. Try to extend your workout maybe 10 minutes if you do something on Saturday. Another tip too is you want to limit alcohol. I know some of you are probably groaning as I'm writing this, but alcohol, if you get a buzz by drinking, that sets you back 2 days in the gym. So limit alcohol. If alcohol is something that you really enjoy, you just love your wine and that's something that you're not willing to give up, then you need to be incorporating that wine into your YOLO meal. You only live once a week. During the weekend, you don't want to go out with friends several nights a week or several nights throughout the weekend and just drink, because what happens is once you do start to get that buzz, you start to make unhealthy food choices because you're just not thinking anymore at that point. And you're like, whatever, I've had 3 drinks at this point. I've already consumed a bunch of calories. I'll just go have a couple slices of pizza and I'll kick it up in the gym next week. But what can happen is we don't weigh you in when you come back in on Monday. So you could potentially be gaining 3 pounds on the weekend. And then when you step on the scale that following Thursday, you've gained a pound, but you've actually lost 2. So that's something that you want to be taking into consideration. If you're not 100% happy with your weigh-ins, go back and look at what's happening on the weekends. Are you sticking to your meal plan? Are you maybe drinking a little bit more than normal? Are you getting cardio in? Kind of take a, survey of what's going on. The fourth tip is consistency. So you need to remain consistent with your routine on the weekend. I find it easier to remain consistent throughout the week because my schedule is pretty much the same. I wake up at the same time, I go to the gym at the same time, I go to work at the same time, school at the same time. So my routine is pretty structured. When the weekend hits, that's completely out of the door. I might sleep in an hour later one day. We might go out and meet friends or family for lunch, which kind of throws things off. We might meal prep on a Saturday. We might meal prep on a Sunday. So you need to try to remain as consistent as possible. So if you're getting cardio in throughout the week, make sure you're getting it in on the weekend. Make sure you're still drinking a gallon of water a day. again, that goes back into when your routine is structured, it's easy to remember, or easier, I should say, to remember to get your water in. On the weekend, when you're running around, doing errands, maybe you're taking your kids to different sporting events or to parties, it's definitely harder to remember to get your water in. And then the end of the day hits, and you've only had a couple glasses. And one thing that I like to point out is if you ever wake up one morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I've got some abs today, my stomach's looking good. And the next day you wake up and you're like, what happened? Yesterday I was looking fantastic. A lot of that could have to do with your water and sodium intake. So that's something that you definitely want to be cautious of. Tip number 5 for staying on track is meal prep. Meal prep for the weekend. So Dustin and I's date night is every Friday. So on Fridays, I know that I'm going to go out to eat. So obviously, I don't need to have dinner prep for Friday. But I do need to make sure I have something ready for Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just throw something in the crock pot and we'll munch on that throughout the weekend. I also like to think about what we're going to be having for breakfast and snacks, which brings me to my 6th tip. Beware of brunch. So on the weekends, all that extra time can lead to us making pretty elaborate breakfasts that are going to have a lot more carbs and calories than what we're normally eating throughout the week. What do I mean by this? Maybe you're going to have pancakes or toast, which is something you wouldn't normally have. Maybe you're going out to brunch and you're having a mimosa and then you're having some toast, or maybe some pastries while you're at brunch. You need to be watching portions even on the weekends and weighing out your food. And if you're going out to breakfast and maybe you are going to brunch and you do want to have that mimosa and you do want to have a little pastry, well then do some cardio after that. So enjoy your brunch within limitations. So if I have that mimosa and I have the pastry, then I'm probably going to have some sort of egg white omelet to go with that. And then go do some cardio, go get an extra workout in. So I hope these 6 tips give you some guidelines for things that you can do to stay on track Friday through Sunday. If anything else comes to mind, I will let you know, and we look forward to seeing you in the studio this week.